And after a year of doing my best and making mistakes and learning from them, I really figured out, how to roll this out.
Welcome to Inspiring Teachers, a show bringing you classroom tips, motivation, and stories from successful educators. Join Tavis Beam and Danny Hogger as they explore the why of teaching.
Welcome to an exciting edition of Inspiring Teachers. I don't know why that welcome had a lot of pop on it. Maybe it's the tea.
Maybe it's the tea.
Hey,
cheers.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good. Welcome into Inspiring Teachers. I'm Danny Hogger.
I'm Tavis Beam.
I thought you would take longer to say your name. It's not that long. But welcome into another edition. We hope you're having a great holiday season now. Wow, it's been a year that we've been doing this show.
I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, it's coming up on a year, isn't it?
We're really stuck on this show, and we're not going anywhere on like the sticker label. $4.99 the cost of this mug, but this show has been much more priceless. And so I'm so glad that you've been following us all season long and all of our wonderful guests. Today, Tavis and I just wanted to talk about an experience we've had as students. Yeah. And it's been great.
It was fun, man.
You had this idea to do something spectacular, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. I just want to thank Amped Up Learning for supporting this show, inspiring teachers for weeks and weeks now. Hey guys, are you looking for new resources to amplify your classroom to get kids out of the normal sit and grit rut? That's close to what the script says, but what's more important is that if you check out ideas for the classroom. From their FREC resources and escape rooms for social studies and science, to speed squares and task cards for math and English, they have tons of teacher-created resources for you. Plus, if you want to sell something you've made, they give you a greater share of that resource than any other site on the internet. I'm a big fan of theirs, and you can use Hogger History 10 as a promo code to save 10% on all of your items. Plus, follow them on social media at Amped Up Learning for monthly giveaways, apparel, and all kinds of great stuff. They have just been really nice to us through this process, and you can tell they're teachers because they care and they're trying to put money back in teachers' pockets and share resources that they know will be helpful.
It's a valuable resource.
You can check out the Hogger History store for a lot more there, and they have been great. And thank you, Numi Tea, for giving us some very warm and tasty, a little Earl Grey for this November day. So tell us. Yes, it did. So you came to me with an idea.
Yeah.
I don't know how you saw it, but tell us what happened. To me.
So I had been working with the local wood shop store, like the high-end supply store, Rockler. I've been working with a woman who had come into my class and was helping me kind of learn some of the tools that I don't know so well. And she suggested that I take an adult education class on one of the machines that she actually taught that class. And so she gave me the pamphlet for the adult education class, and I said, oh, that looks really neat. And I was kind of looking through, and I said, you know what also would be really cool? Stand-up comedy, because they were offering a class. And I thought that Danny and I, and my sister also took it with us, would have a great time with that. And boy, was it fun.
It was a really good time.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to taking the class again. Yeah.
We should plug Chelsea Bearce, right?
Yeah, Chelsea Bearce.
She's the teacher, and you wouldn't happen to remember that social media handle off the top of your head, would you? You can find her online. You'll see it on Instagram. Chocnilla, CHOC.
There you go.
NILLA. You can
Instagram.
find her calendar on Instagram, and you wonder what kind of a person teaches a class like that and who you're going to have in adult ed. And we were both kind of like, the first day who are we going to get? Who's going to come behind the curtain? She's so awesome.
And so to project that onto our students, to think for a minute, like, we were like, who is this person that we're going to be sitting in front of for the next 6 weeks, for a couple hours? Imagine how a kid feels like, this is my new history teacher that I'm going to be seeing every day.
For a year.
Yeah.
And an hour and a half at a time.
Right. Yeah.
That's a lot of anxiety or apprehension.
Yeah.
So that's a good point to reference in. I think this was good for probably a lot of different connecting reasons for us being students.
Yeah.
We brought notebooks and pens. We were going to like an English class.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we took it seriously, and you especially, I think, really dedicated yourself to the practice, and the craft, and the writing, and the time, and the homework.
Yeah.
What was that like for you? Because how long had it been since you had been a student?
Oh, my goodness. Well, other than taking like an online class where I wasn't really showing up to class, it'd been probably like 5 years or so, and I took calculus. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been a student, but I think that putting yourself in that position really does teach you about the importance of the presence of the teacher. And, when we walked in, we weren't sure who we were going to get. But in a few minutes, she had diffused that concern. What do you think it was for you that helped diffuse that? Because I know right away you were like, I like her.
Yes. I think she cut through the normal teacher-student relationship, which is probably something that we both tried to do. We were trying to differentiate ourselves from every experience they've had before. Not in the sense of being like revolutionaries, but I think here I am, and I'm talking really quickly and friendly and smiling and talking with a lot of energy and passion. And then I'm making fun of myself and the situation that we're all in together, and let's all laugh. And so if we start out laughing, well, I'm enjoying this already, and so I'm at ease now.
It's that sense of being in the room that you're in, not like a show. Right? Well, I mean, not like a theater production where there's a fourth wall where the teacher is standing. There was an interaction. And that speaks to her style of comedy as well, is that she's an interactive comedian, does a lot of audience work.
She does. That's her style.
Yeah.
And she hadn't taught before, so this is the first time she had embarked on it. So maybe she was converting inner nerves into just outward.
I know she had said she had done some workshops.
Cool.
Like a weekend workshop, but this was her first structured class, I believe.
So here's some of the feelings that I remember having, like apprehension about the other students in the class too, which I wonder if that's something all our students also have.
Right.
And they have prior relationships with these people.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are these people going to be like? And they were a mix of different people.
We actually, in an adult education class, we had bad behaved students.
We did. We had call-outs, hecklers. We had little arrogance here and there. Language was a problem at some points. Yeah.
And so, being somebody who wanted to respect the teacher and watching this happen, it's really
having
bizarre.
the feelings like, be quiet. Like, she's trying to tell us something.
And she handled it beautifully. She knows how to deal with hecklers as a professional stand-up comedian.
Yeah, that was a funny part of the experience. And it felt funny, like taking notes. There was going to be no test. There was going to be a performance task, which is kind of maybe another thing we take from it, is that we didn't need to be tested in the traditional pen and paper, true and false way. But having us all go up there was truly the best way for us to learn and to experience. For example, some people went up there and thought they were just comedy geniuses before we had to step in front of the room and try some original material. And we had one person go up there and never come back. I think, what do you think they got? 45 seconds into the notes that they had, and then the different sides. We were being the receptive, quiet audience. They realized that they weren't prepared, and they bolted, and we never saw them again. So I don't know what connection you make in class to that, other than I do have students come and tell me, Mr. Hogger, do we have to present? I don't feel comfortable.
Right.
And I don't want to put students in a spot where they don't, but I do tell them that they might be missing an opportunity to develop and get better. That's an interesting thing, I think, that wasn't a thing when we were kids. Everyone, if it was a presentation, presented.
Yeah, it's true.
Nobody had an excuse or a pass.
Yeah.
Or a and maybe that's a plus and a minus, because we do want to be sensitive now. You don't want to make someone feel ill.
Right.
But it's probably true. I think Chelsea would have told us it was true, that if we didn't get up there and do it ourselves, there's no amount of listening to her teach us that was going to make us good at that stuff.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, you have to engage in it. It's especially with something like stand-up comedy, but it also speaks to engaging people in different methods. Yeah. So for some people, like myself, I always loved getting in front of the class and giving a presentation, and I would do that any day of the week than a paper and pencil test, because I never felt confident on a paper and pencil.
Who could, that's a special thing.
Yeah, I know lots of people who were like, well, it was a standardized test, so I could figure out what they wanted. It's like, sometimes, are you serious? I can't.
In math, I always thought you could, because you could plug the answers back into the equation and work them through, but
not today,
I totally
probably,
get you.
Yeah.
I think they've kind of wised up to that. Yeah. Well, some takeaways then. We both enjoyed it a ton.
Absolutely.
I think you really committed. What benefits do you think we've drawn from it in your teaching? Do you feel like you have translated?
Well, my experience as a professional circus clown and as a professional teacher, they all kind of fed together in this, to remember to be genuine in that room, to not have up that fourth wall, that we can make people more comfortable by really engaging them, really looking at them. And it's funny to talk about that, but I really don't do very much of that anymore. I speak for like 5 minutes before my class starts getting to work. But I also do teach all the safety stuff and build rapport and relationship before they ever put hammer and nail together. But there's something to just being genuine, and really trying to build those relationships with the students. I think that helped a lot. What about you? What did you glean for your classroom?
Well, I think that's really good stuff. And if you want to hear more about Tavis's background, go back to episode 1, Why We Teach, and there's all about that. What I think I drew from it is the thoughtfulness about the individual word selection in a joke is very important. So take that same planning when you're in front of a class speaking about a subject and think about the best way to make that interesting.
Yeah.
One way that I changed, I'm not done with it yet, but for the Russian Revolution, I've never taught that before. It's coming up. I thought, what if I had the class complain about things that bothered them? And then that'll be one half of a slide, and the other half will be why the Russians were complaining. And then you take that Russian complaint about whatever the citizens were going through in the 17th, 16th, 15th century, and then say, so in Russia, the government was taking land from people that was privately held and making it communal property and dispersing it as they wished. How would you feel if your parents took the things that you owned and distributed them and gave them to your brother or your friends or took it away? And then what complaint would you have about that? What would you do about it? And then take it back to the actual material.
That's good. Yeah.
So if comedy is about like thinking about what is the audience thinking while I'm teaching, while I'm using this humor, what is the class thinking while I'm teaching this material, and how can I turn that and help them get into a mindset of understanding material?
That's great.
I think it'll be really good. It's not done yet.
Yeah,
I'm still tweaking it, but I think it's going to be strong.
What do you think about comedy in the classroom? How do
Love
you
it.
use comedy? How do you censor yourself? Like, what processes do you go through? And the nice thing about being a teacher is you get a new audience every hour, 90 minutes. And so you can try the jokes over and over again.
Yeah.
And sometimes the joke kills and sometimes you get nothing.
The same thing.
Yeah. Like what do you think on that?
I think...
I ask you like 4 questions all at once.
I do that all the time, and then I expect someone to answer one of them well.
Right.
I'm like, but which one? But that is, I think, an example. Just be ridiculous sometimes, and let that be a moment of break and breath. So I feel like that's a big part. Taking risks, censoring is good, filtering is good, and then sometimes presenting a joke from a perspective that's not mine, even though I said it. Which, if you had to exemplify it, be like, I wonder if people in this situation might think this. Now, I didn't say it, but they might think it. And you guys, there's no way I would say that, but people, you have to think about what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's almost confusing.
It's what you see a lot of stand-up comedians doing now around sensitive topics. Like, I would never say this, but
here's the thing.
Just distancing themselves from it a little bit.
Sometimes it's just fishbowling it, and like, if you had this conversation, what words would you say? I don't want to put you in the spot, but if you were there, and we were all there together while listening, so I think creating spaces to play in, whether it's a fishbowl theoretically in my hands that we're all in now for a minute, or we're not going to talk about this, but if we did, what would you say? And then just test the water and see if they have something to add, and if not, you move on. I think that's the main thing with humor in the classroom, is that it'll get a reaction when they really think it's funny.
Right.
They're not really going to fake a laugh for you. A couple of people will. And if something is funny, stay there.
Yeah.
And allow it to play itself out. And if it's not, you just move on.
Yeah.
Or you then make a joke about me. Like, wow, I really thought that was going to get some laughs. I thought about it for a few minutes. I sent it out there for you. I thought this is going to be wonderful. Yeah. And have the dialogue out loud with yourself. Yeah. They'll laugh at that. Eventually, you carry it out long enough, they're going to laugh too, because they're going to be like, what is going on?
And I wonder also how, whether or not they feel safe laughing, because if they get that you're joking. Because in some classes, laughter is not something that they experience.
Yeah.
Right? Or if there is laughter, it is something that should not be happening at this moment.
Yeah.
And so I've sometimes felt like I've put out jokes. I don't want to feel like, that was a funny joke, so, clearly there's something wrong with them. But that was a funny joke. Clearly, there's something wrong with it. They're all sitting there looking at me, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll move on, But I just think like the context of the classroom, I think matters.
I think it's training.
Yeah,
like anything else in the room. Here's how we be funny together. I was trying to be
Right.
funny there. You didn't think it was funny. Now I think this is funny.
Yeah.
And then building the safe spaces, just like you do safety in woodshop. Like, I'm not going to make jokes about things that punch down.
Yeah.
So, and then you also tell them if they try, no, we're not really going to be humorous about this. You're setting the expectations just like anything else in class. I think that's the best thing. And I think Chelsea would agree with that too. There's a lot of things she told us that just don't play well. Mm-hmm. And we teach our class those things, and then we're in a good place.
Have you had an instance where you said something and you're like, I shouldn't have said that?
And if I do, I will just say that, or sometimes I'll simulate a rewind and go, okay, I took that back because that wasn't a great thing to have said, and I'm glad I didn't say it. And again, I think once you put your heart out there at the beginning of the year and you tell your class what you're about, they know what you mean, what you don't, and when to apologize, I think is good too. That they can also do that.
Yeah, I had a moment like that recently where it was a soft punch down at a student. It wasn't anything, but I felt that the moment it came out, I'm like, that was not that's not the person I want to be. That's not the relationship I want to build. Even though this is a student who, I was accurate with what I said, but because this student doesn't do a whole lot of work in the class, and I made a comment about that, and even though it was accurate and it wasn't that bad or anything, I still felt like that is not the person I want to be.
Occasionally, I think that's good that you told that story and then you roll that back. Occasionally, if someone is disruptive, I'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I lost your attention. Here. And I'll give them the clicker. I'm like, oh, go ahead. We'll switch. You know what to do better than me. I'll switch. And then I'll sit and I'll do the behavior they just did while they're trying to read the presentation. Like, oh, excuse me. And I'll do the thing. Yeah. But when I then retake the spot, I'll say, you know what? I'm really glad you're in this class. That moment was just a lot of fun. And if you weren't here, we wouldn't be having this vibrant, good time. Glad you're here. All of you guys, I'm glad you're here. Yeah. As long as it ends with a hug.
Yeah.
Then here we are enjoying this time together. And I think that's a great takeaway. So for the teachers out there, I think take the moment to go and enroll in a class and have an experience and be a student and draw from that. I think you'll find it beneficial, and I bet you there will be positive effects for your own room. Until next time, I think I'm Danny Hogger.
I'm pretty sure I'm Tavis Beam.
And I'm pretty sure we'll be back again for a future episode of Inspiring Teachers. We thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, join our notification squad, and be aware of all our new episodes and content. Till then, we'll see you next time, and class is dismissed.
Thank you.